I had ignored YouTube. Didn't want to do it because of a lot of, frankly, it's nice. I let you go first. So I'm like, am I willing to do that? Nah, let Roland get the arrow stuck in his back. But what I didn't like about YouTube is that once you got on that hamster wheel, you could really never get off or everything just stopped working. And I was like, that sounds like a job. Like, I don't want that. And it was the same with the other social profiles. It's like, well, if you really want to make it work organically, you need to post 2 or 3 times a day. Well, I didn't want to do that. And so it's why, you and I have relied on, from personal branding, we've relied on this podcast, which is fine. Like, us getting together and talking and riffing, a couple times a week, no big deal. We were doing it anyway. Turn on a camera. Like, not like that one's easy. That one's fun.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Business Lunch with your host Ryan Deiss and me, Roland Frasier. Ryan, what is happening?
Man, I'm excited. We've got our Founders Board meeting coming up next week, so getting prepped for that. Probably by the time people hear this, we'll be on the other side of it. But it's always fun just to get in the same room with our clients, with other entrepreneurs, to get to share ideas. It's one of these times when we're sort of forced to say, what's all the cool stuff that we've done? Because that's kind of what our clients and members expect us to bring. And so it's fun looking back over the last 90 days and just finding, plucking out the cool wins, and so that we can go and share them. So that's what I'm up to.
It also kind of forces you to document the things that oh, that was good, before it just slips off into the thing that we did that we never do again,
Yeah. It's what people underestimate about, the value of, teaching and consulting, and why we do it is it does make us better. It does make us sharper. When you have to explain what you're doing to somebody else, and you have to really think out, okay, what did we do to do that? It's you
and how
just
is it replicable,
so
right?
Yeah.
How is it replicable and passable onable to somebody elseable?
Yeah, and I think also the reason that we're good at what we do, not to pull a muscle patting ourselves on the back, but because we operate in a portfolio model and we have a lot of different companies, if we have something that works at one of the businesses, another, one of our portfolio companies would be like, how did that work? And we're like, yeah, crap, we do want to figure out how to replicate this across these different organizations. Whereas if you just stay in your own little bubble and you stay in your own little world, it's good. You can optimize around it, but you don't necessarily duplicate it across, other organizations or other departments. So that's fun.
Look at this segue. This is really good. Watch this. Speaking of replicable things that are working that we're showing other people how to do, don't you have some great success that you've just had taking your YouTube channel from a couple thousand to 20-ish thousand folks?
Yeah, this has been fun, and didn't actually intend for that setup, but you're right, that worked out really well. I don't know about you. I mean, well, you have consistently taken a different approach to social than I have, and we've talked about this on other episodes, so we don't necessarily need to rehash it. But it's not that I'm anti any type of social, or anti getting out there, anti being a personal brand. You and I share the similar philosophy in that we don't want our businesses to be built around us. We don't want to build to be the business, but we also acknowledge that there is value to being the face of a brand, to being the spokesperson for your brand. And because of that, There's value to having a personal brand, because you can point it at a number of different entities. You're your own media. So we're on the same page there. The difference historically has been you were more willing to do it than I was, because I just freaking hate it. And you also, I know it's not your favoriteest thing in the world, but you were just more willing to do it. And so I know,
I've gone through,
a couple years ago,
evolutions of it. So, from trying, let me release content every day, which worked great, got me 1 million followers on Facebook, to I'm going to just go all in and hire a full expensive team to create a schedule, and we're going to shoot every Monday, and it's going to be this many things that we're going to do, and it's going to get released, to almost no effect. I mean, looking at, I think we got up to, I don't know, maybe it was 1.5 million minutes a month, watched, which felt good. But subscriber wise, all of that had almost no effect. And that was when they were telling us really focus on shorts. And that's because YouTube was really promoting shorts. But in terms of shorts leading to subscribers, and then also, why do we do this? It's not for the ego trip of watching the subscriber count or the views or the minutes. It's for money. How does it turn into money? And it just wasn't and it wasn't growing. And, I think the most expensive, we were spending 15 grand a month with outside people, plus maybe 3 or 4 grand a month in ad budget. Plus, let's be generous and say 4 or 5,000 a month of time, for our people. So let's say it was 300 grand a year, $25,000 a month. And I'm still, I think at 32,000 or something like that, subscribers, which is nice. But the minute that we stopped spending all the money with all the people, it dropped to, I think now it's maybe 700,000 minutes a month watched, which is my personal KPIs. How many minutes of the content are people consuming? But certainly in terms of reach, to see, you be able to jump from a couple thousand to 20,000, is insane. So I definitely would love to share that with everybody else, and also, put that into place on our channel.
Yeah. So cool. Let's talk about it. Because I had ignored YouTube, didn't want to do it because of a lot of, frankly, it's nice. I let you go first. So I'm like, am I willing to do that? Nah, let Roland get the arrow stuck in his back. But what I didn't like about YouTube is that once you got on that hamster wheel, you could really never get off, or everything just stopped working. And I was like, that sounds like a job. Like, I don't want that. And so it was the same with the other social profiles. It's like, well, if you really want to make it work organically, you need to post 2 or 3 times a day. Well, I didn't want to do that. And so it's why, you and I have relied on, from personal branding, we've relied on this podcast, which is fine. Like, us getting together and talking and riffing, a couple times a week, no big deal. We were doing it anyway. Turn on a camera, not like that one's easy. That one's fun.
We have millions of downloads.
Right. Exactly. And it's worked. And so what I just came at it from the perspective of, okay, I'm not going to do it if I don't want to do it, because I don't have to do it. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs get in that, especially if you're a CEO first, you're a business owner first. You're not a creator. You're not a YouTuber. Right? Your job is not to go and do that. Your job is to run a company. So I started from the thing of, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it on my terms. And so what I said is, I want to be able to not have to produce any more than about a video a week. And on the weeks when I don't want to do it, I'm just not going to do it. And so I don't want to be a show creator where people are expecting that there's going to be a new show every single week. And instead, I wanted to treat YouTube more like a binge factory. So when somebody comes across the content, they can jump in, they can begin consuming the content, but all of the content is designed to go to one particular place with the goal, and this is important, of leads. How many leads do we generate from YouTube? That was like the only metric that I wanted to focus on and that I wanted to optimize, and leads at an acceptable rate. And we are now generating not just 20,000 some odd subscribers, but we are now getting thousands and thousands of qualified leads a month at just a little more than $3 per lead, total spend all in on that. It's one of the lowest cost per lead channels that we have. And here's the best part, dude. The cost is actually going down. There is a paid element to this strategy that I'll get into, but the paid is there to prop up the organic. And as the organic starts to tick up, you're kind of, the algorithm takes over, and the cost per lead actually starts to go down. So that's kind of the after. That's what we did. I'll get into how we did it. The first thing that I wanted to have was one piece of pillar content, like one video to rule them all. If somebody was only going to watch one video, what would that one video be? And I believe that all businesses have this. If you're a CEO who does keynote presentations, right, you've already probably have created this. If you use webinars in your marketing, probably your best performing webinar is that. If you've written a white paper or a manifesto, there's probably some type of pillar content out there that in the back of your mind, okay, if somebody sees this, they're pretty much going to be ready to buy the thing that I want to buy. Like, they're going to get excited. They're going to get the picture. Like, this is that one thing that I most want to give to people. So I said, I want to start with that. Now, here's the thing. Everybody had told me that if you're going to do YouTube, it either needs to be a short or it needs to be 10 to 20 minutes because, attention span, blah, 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 blah. I was kind of like, screw it. I don't freaking care. It's going to be as long as it needs to be. So my pillar content video on my YouTube channel is 121 minutes long. 121 minutes long. Because again, I really just don't, I wasn't worried about that. It's not necessarily the first video that people are going to watch, but I wanted all of the other videos to point back to that one. So that's where it began. When I relaunched my channel, that was the first video that got plopped onto there. Anything you want me to? Any questions about kind of like the pillar content piece?
Maybe did you think about, like, how did you decide what the content was going to be for the pillar content?
The question that I asked is, what is the one piece of content that I wished every single person saw before they engaged with us from a sales perspective? And I literally asked the sales team, hey, what is that thing when you ask, because our salespeople ask everybody, hey, how did you hear about us? I mean, it's one of the most common, like, openers if you're talking to somebody from a sales perspective. And if you don't have a sales team talking to people and you're more a direct consumer model, more of an e-commerce, you can ask them after they buy and say, how did you hear about us? Right? Was there a piece of content? Was there something that you saw? And so I asked them that, what's the one thing that when you hear people say, your ears, start twitching, and because you're like, ooh, yeah, this person, they're 90% of the way there. I just need to not screw this up. And what they said was, yeah, Ryan, when somebody hears you deliver the Get Scalable keynote at a talk, like, so if I go and give a talk and they mention that they saw you in a talk, they like, I know that's good.